How's everybody doing? Y'all are in college. Y'all gotta do better than that. I live an hour away, so I need y'all to be my coffee right now and wake me up. How are you guys doing? There you go. It's a pleasure to see you all. And I don't know whose great idea it was to put me before dinner, but I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. As a matter of fact, can you remind me when do you want me to shut up? How about we put it that way? No, I ain't doing that. You guys are not running me out of here like that. No, I want to first just take the opportunity to thank you guys for allowing me to be here today. When I was a student at Clark Atlanta University, my wife, Janelle, she went to Spelman College, and I don't remember looking this nice, so it's really a pleasure to see you guys. You guys look great. You look amazing. But I want to really thank you guys. This is therapeutic for me, seriously. I do a lot of work. Politically, I had the distinct honor to work with President Obama's administration on various initiatives. I was Bernie Sanders' political director in the state of Georgia, and had a chance to travel with Vice President Biden to two separate colleges to work on a campaign called It's On Us, which is a campaign to end sexual violence against women and against boys and against everybody. So I think the fact that I'm here today speaking to the future, it means a lot to me. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank the parents and the supporters that are here and all the award nominees. And the sister, did you just give that poem? You did good. I took some notes. So no, but on a serious note, I want to thank you. I want to thank you guys so much. And I'm going to kind of try not to be all over the place, but because of the time we're in, I'm going to start off with a quote that Dr. King gave. And that quote says that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today. I know some of you all made it over the hurdle of finals, which is good. How many people had a final today? Just wave at me. No finals? Wow. Come on, wave at me. You guys sleepy? There you go. How many seniors do we have? Any seniors in here? Well, let's thank God for the seniors. My prayer to you is you get rid of that debt ASAP. Get rid of it. We incur too much debt as a nation, and the burden is too heavy on our young men and women that are going to be tasked to really change the world and do some amazing things. So outside of thanking you all, I want to first open up with a challenge. My wife and I are the parents of 3 children, 3 black boys, 12, 9, and 5. They all have birthdays coming up. That's why I paused. But you all are going to be our children's teachers. You're going to be their mentors. You're going to be people they look up to. You may be the activist at a rally they go to. You may be the professor at the college they attend. You may be the politician that sets legislation for their lives. And I want you to take where you are today very seriously. I had a lot of support growing up. My family immigrated here from Barbados. My father served Special Forces in the United States Army. My wife's father retired from the Pentagon. So we come from families that really understood the importance of hard work and the importance of putting ourselves in a position to do great things. But when I gave that quote that Dr. King gave, in the final portion of that quote, which says that it's what we do in times of challenge and controversy. We live in a world right now that is full of challenges and full of controversy and full of problems that need to be solved. So to be quite frank with you, you should be excited because you got work to do. I'm tired of hearing people saying, I graduate, I don't have no job. Guess what? It's a lot of work to do. Starting November 8th, we all knew it was something to do. Regardless of who you voted for or how you voted, when the President of the United States can have as his senior advisor a white nationalist, I'm not here to mince words. I'm here to challenge you. I'm here to make sure that you're better when you walk out of this room than you were before you met me. And when the President of the United States can have a white nationalist as a senior advisor, every single person in this room, white, black, brown, whatever your nationality, race, culture, language, ethnic background, you should be not only concerned, but it should motivate you to do something different, regardless of if you get a paycheck for it or not. All of us have a role to play. All of us have an opportunity to be involved in what this nation will look like for the next 10 years and the next century. And it's a challenge you should all take. In Metro Atlanta alone, where you all live right now, human trafficking has become the #1 issue of our state, with Atlanta being #1, Metro Atlanta being #1 in the United States for human trafficking. I know because we're the godparents of a young lady that was trafficked, that was missing for 4 years. I take that very seriously. Because our job, our goal, and our expectation is to prevent another young woman from being in a position such as that. In the metro Atlanta region, my family mostly is in Boston and New York. There's a jail, a prison in New York called Rikers Island. And at Rikers Island, there are roughly 11,800 inmates. In metro Atlanta, there are 13,600 inmates, which means that the problem of mass incarceration is far beyond and far more of a challenge than we've not only given credit to, that, but that we've spoken about. Today just happens to be 420. I don't know how many of y'all know about 420. Don't laugh too hard, I won't know it's you. But this is a day where many people that support the decriminalization of marijuana have not only had rallies and talks and have done other things in protest to how the war on drugs has happened. But look, the war on drugs started in 1971 with the New York drug laws. It really was a line in the sand in a war against poverty. And too many people are in prison right now for low-level drug offenses, and these are issues that you all have to deal with. And I'm saying it to you because I met a sister in the back. I don't know, I think she was the president of this organization last year. What's her name? Abby. There you go. Shout out to Abby in the back. But she said that she wanted to go do some amazing things in Puerto Rico and that she has an interest in health. And health and wellness are important issues that we have to take account of, because the majority of people that are in prison that are not dealing with drug offenses that really need treatment and not incarceration are people that are dealing with mental health issues. And there are people in this room right now that are going to have to solve the problems not only of the mental health issues, and don't get me wrong, it's not going to be all doom and gloom. I'm going to finish strong and you guys are going to be excited, but I have to lay a foundation for why it's important for you to be here and why it's even more important, that food ain't going nowhere, for you to make sure that you understand the seat of privilege that you sit in right now. That you understand that nothing in life is for free. And that you all have a tremendous responsibility to do what the sister said in her poem, which is to invest back in the community. Too often, we think investment needs putting dollars back in the community, when in reality, investment is simply what Frederick Douglass said, which when he said that it's better to build strong boys than to repair broken men. Going into the community and being in a neighborhood that the option is the streets, being a blood, being, in jail, being locked up, or playing sports, or being an entertainer, or following some foolishness on a reality show. Now, I'm all for people that want to be producers and filmmakers, but content is king, and there's too much of the wrong options for our young men and women than for right options. And the people that I'm looking at in this room right now, you're the options that this generation needs. And I don't know your faith, I don't know your spirituality, but I know one guiding principle that I have as it relates to the Bible is that to whom much is given, much is required. And you're sitting in a room right now where when you leave out here, whether you want the burden or not, you are going to have to be responsible to go out and to be an inspiration to this generation. Women right now in the United States, white women right now in the United States, make 80 cents to the dollar for every white man. But black and brown women in the United States make makes about, I think the number is between 54 to 65 cents to the dollar. So outside of all the issues that we see dealing with men, we got to stand up for women too, especially where wage gaps and discrimination where women are concerned. We've got to step up and make sure that you guys' is hard spent money that you're paying at this school, you better go out and make some money somewhere. Say it again. I'm serious. If you spend this much time and this much energy in a school like Emory, the least you can do is go out and be competitive, but there should be barriers that are broken down that don't allow folks to mistreat women simply because they're a woman, because women do things as good, if not better, than most of us in this room. And it's our responsibility to support them and to push them and to just do everything in our power to make sure that the playing field is level. And I can go on and on about issues. By trade, I do environmental work. The climate is changing. There's food scarcity all over the world right now. I mean, you guys have the opportunity in a tremendous way to change the trajectory of our democracy and of our world. Right now in the United States, while we only have 320 million of the 7 billion people on this planet, we incarcerate a quarter of the people that are on this planet. We not only do that, but we consume 50% of global consumption. In other words, we throw away about 40 million tons of food every year. Now, I'm saying all this to you because I want you to not be so discouraged about what the problems are as much as you're encouraged about how you're going to fix them. I'm one of those guys on the edge of being a millennial / Gen Xer. I think I lean more towards a Gen Xer because I have an 18-year-old brother that reminds me every day that I'm not a millennial. And I'm okay with that. I feel young. I still think I look a little bit young, but I know that I'm not how our senior brothers and sisters used to say, the youth. I don't know if I'm the youth anymore. But what I do know is that generation's Jim Crow, that generation, since we're sitting here with the NAACP, that generation's Montgomery bus boycott, that generation's Edmund Pettus Bridge and Bloody Sunday, our generation's 9/11, our generation's Hurricane Katrina, our generation's presidential election of 2016. For so long, we've camped out on the past and what people had to give and what they had to sacrifice for us to be in the position we're in now. But I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel in this room, but it's time to roll your sleeves up and begin to do the things that were done by people that came before you. Every significant movement, not only in the United States, but across the world, was started by young people. People like Congressman John Lewis and folks like Reverend Joseph Eccles Lowry, who's here in Atlanta, people that marched with Dr. King. These folks weren't 25 and 35, and they may have been that age as the movement progressed, but these folks started off when they were in college. They started off being activists and being advocates and being involved and fighting and standing up for what was wrong and being freedom riders. These folks were doing that when they had everything to lose and very little to gain. And that's where you are today. I meet so many bright and sharp young men and women that are activists at heart and advocates. But then that proverbial clock begins to tick where you start thinking about being a senior and getting your first job and starting your life. And that's okay. I agree with it. I think everybody in here deserves the right to enjoy their life. But I also believe that there are times in our life where we're at a crossroads and our community, unfortunately, right now is in a state of sleep. And it shouldn't take the election of our current president for folks to be upset. What I see right now is organized chaos. What they had in the 60s, even though they didn't have it all the way right, but what they had was infrastructure. They had organization. They didn't have cell phones, but they had the ability to communicate. You guys' fingers are at technology. You can change the world decades faster than any of them were able to do. So my second challenge to you is it's the responsibility. If you're conscious, wave your hand at me. If you know what conscious means, just wave at me if you up, if you know what's going on. Good. Keep your hands up and look around. So here's what I'm going to tell you. It is the responsibility of the conscious to keep the unconscious conscious of their unconscious behavior. Did you follow me on that? In other words, wake some folks up that don't know what you know. The things you learn at Emory, go out and tell to somebody else. It's not enough for you to get all this knowledge and all this information and then don't share it with anybody. Instead of an internship, some of you all might need to consider going to English Avenue or Bankhead or, somewhere. I met a sister earlier, said she was from Dallas, Texas. Well, that was you. There you go. See, she jumped up on me. But this sister here, go back to Dallas. Wherever you're from, I met some folks over here from New York. And I'm looking, there we go. You always catch people like that from New York. New York folks are proud. I'm surprised I haven't seen a Yankee hat yet. But there is a principled objective of ensuring the political, education, and social and economic empowerment of minorities. That was the premise of what the NAACP was founded on. And there are people that look like you in this room that really help to change not only the state of where our country and our nation is now, but I want to share a story with you. Then I want to challenge you with what I think you should do, and then I'm going to take my seat because I don't think it takes a lot of words when you talk to people that are smart enough to get what's going on. I don't believe in standing up in rooms and giving good speeches and then you walk out and you forget everything of what I said. That's something we've become far too common with. In 1936, there was a gentleman named Jesse Owens who defied Jim Crow and he defied Hitler's regime and Hitler's idea of creating an Aryan nation, a nation that was superior to every race, every culture, and every kind of ideology. And if you know anything about history, Jesse Owens defied every single one of them by getting not only gold medals, but by literally embarrassing the people that were put before him. But here's the thing, there were 17 other Olympic athletes that were never talked about, black men and black women that not only medaled in bronze, silver, and gold, but we never heard their stories. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Because your responsibility today is to make sure we ensure the integrity of our national identity. The folks in this room, many years ago, folks that looked just like you, even when they were viewed as second-class citizens, helped to build this country. Even through Jim Crow, there were folks that not necessarily assimilated to society, but they understood the time that they were in and they understood the foundation in which they were laying. And regardless of how we feel about what they compromised or what they didn't compromise, what they did or what they didn't do, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for the seeds that they planted 50, 60, 70, 100 years ago. For their sacrifices, their dedication, their work, no generation has ever been perfect. But always understand and recognize that there was somebody that came before you. And those generations that I mentioned that talked about building the national identity of a community is exactly what your responsibility is. Because with the current administration that we're in, we're about 7 or 8 days away from 100 days in office, and we can see what the mindset can do to someone that, and I'm not here to just preach anti-president. That's not what I'm here for. What I'm here to talk to you about is to understand clearly the time that you're in. The gentleman that currently occupies the Oval Office is not the problem. He's a symptom of the problem. And the problem is that we, for too long, have allowed mediocrity and averageness to take precedent in our communities. For too long, we've allowed our black boys to think that sports and entertainment was the only way out, not teaching them that they can be doctors, lawyers, educators, and good dads. I should have got a clap or something on the good dad part. I'm just playing. You don't have to clap because I said that. But on a very serious note, we've got to remind a generation of the importance of being where we're supposed to be. And this identity that I'm talking about is very important because within the first week, we've seen our Muslim brothers under attack. We've seen women under attack. We've seen what on the inside of you is going to get frustrated enough to stand up. I remember when Trayvon Martin got shot. And I watched it with my son because he didn't understand, and then watched the verdict. And then watched Mike Brown and Eric Gardner and Tamir Rice. And after a while, you get numb to it. After a while, you begin to think that that's the way it is and you deal with it. After a while, as a father, you run out of answers to justify foolishness. And you all have to begin to solve the problems that this nation faces because the more it happens, and the more good people say nothing, the more those things will grow. And you may not think it's your issue right now to my brothers and sisters in here that may not be black or Latino. In the 80s, the predominantly black and poor communities dealt with the crack cocaine epidemic. And what they did during that time was created mandatory minimums, and they locked folks up rather than giving them the help, the investment, and the support they needed. But now that the heroin epidemic has exploded, and it's affecting folks that don't look like a lot of people in this room, the conversation has changed to treatment. And I'm not opposed to that because I believe in this country we have to reform our drug policies. But what I am saying to you today, being in this room, is that you all have to be at the forefront of those decisions. Every single person in this room. I wish I could say, rather than paying back your student loans, register to vote. I wish I could just wave a wand and say your payment back to society for your education is to register and actively vote in every election, regardless of who you vote for, but that's not how it is. So it's incumbent upon you to take the responsibility to register, to vote, and to hold the people you elect accountable. And then to give back regardless of how much time you need. Look, I can be in 6 different places right now. I'm doing this for free. And I'm not being boastful about that. I'm saying that this is a part of what I'm supposed to do. I don't care how high on the totem pole I get. The day that coming to a college campus or to a community center gets too big for me is the day where I need to go find somewhere to sit down. And we should all think that way. It should make you uncomfortable to drive downtown Atlanta. If you're a medical student and you have to go to one of Emory's healthcare centers or Grady Hospital, and when you see the immense amount of poverty that exists and people that don't have access to healthcare. 1.8 million people in the state of Georgia live at or below the poverty line. The city of Atlanta has the largest income inequality gap in the nation. We have more children living in poverty in the Atlanta public school system than any other city with the capacity and numbers that we have. In other words, the population of the city of Atlanta compared to other cities similar has the largest amount of hungry kids and homeless kids. How do we get a hungry kid to take a test and do good? But the remedy to that is the people that are sitting in this room. Take a day off from being on campus and going to a party. Take a day off from having fun. Look, I get it. You deserve fun. You deserve every minute of fun, every minute. Because when life happens, it happens. And when it happens, it starts, it goes. And you wake up one day and you getting ready to celebrate your 25th year being away. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form telling you not to enjoy it. I've got a friend right now that plays in the NBA, and he told me, he said, you know, when I was 12, kids would be going to parties and getting ice cream and hanging out, and my dad just had me doing layups all the time. And then on the weekends, when they were going out and doing other things or playing catch, I was studying extra to make sure I can get into school. Obviously, with me giving you this next Bible scripture, you can tell that I'm very big on my faith. But I'm going to end with this. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "What builder goeth forth without first counting the cost?" I want you to take heed to that. And I'm not saying that whether you have a religion, you have a faith. It's just the words itself should resonate in your heart. Don't go into anything in life without counting what it's going to cost you. Not just the financial cost. Even when I was in school for international business and finance, there was something called opportunity cost in economics. I'm not talking about opportunity cost. I'm saying, what is it going to cost you personally, physically, emotionally? I mean, whether you get into a relationship with somebody, business or personal, you should understand what it's going to cost you and how it's going to benefit you. And I want you all to go forth from today to whenever you get to where you're supposed to be. And I want you to count the cost of what it's going to cost you and who it's going to benefit. We have to begin this period, this time in our lives, this time where you are right now. This is called the NAACP Image Awards. Your image isn't contingent on how much you make or what you do. Your image is content on what you're able to give back to society. What you're able to give back. People's image is just a cute word for character. Your character says a lot about you. Your character is who you are when you're not in class, who you are when nobody's watching. And I need there to be, amongst our men, especially the men that are in this room, I need us to take on more ownership, responsibility, and integrity. For every single man that's sitting in this room, it should upset you when the numbers of Black and Latino men that are incarcerated every single day. I was driving my car today and I saw a brother getting locked up. I don't know what he did. I didn't care. I'm just tired of seeing it. So the integrity and the character that you show from what you learn here should mean something to you. And to every woman that's in this room, it should anger you that we can parade women on commercials for hamburger with bikinis on. Bikinis have nothing to do with hamburgers. The way we treat our women in this society should make you not only angry and not only want to go to a women's march, but it should make you stand up and say something. That's why we need more women going into health sciences. We need more women going into marketing so these large companies with $40, $50, $60 million budgets that are making these ads can have somebody in the room saying, no, we're not going to do that. God knows Pepsi need one of y'all right now. Every single one of you in this room have a responsibility to our society and to yourselves. And that responsibility is to respect yourselves, respect your communities, and leave this place better for the next generation than it was for you. Thank you all so much. God bless you. I appreciate it. And I'm going to take my seat.